Evening, guys. So this is the latest reason to have a printer. And what this is a label for our garden. Let me show you how it works. So this right here is our gardening pot. Now 5-gallon buckets generally are the same size roughly, but aspects are a little bit different. In this case, the lip is what we're looking at here. So we have these screws on the inside of this so that when we put it on that lip, we can adjust those screw depths so that this thing can properly lock in place. So we want to put it in there, and then we take these big screws and go down the length. That way this cannot come off once it's in place. Now you may be thinking, why is our garden using 5-gallon buckets? Well, funny thing, since nobody can afford to buy a house nowadays and everybody is renting everything, and if you want to have a garden, it makes sense to have it mobile, because making a garden is, well, it's expensive in time and cost and everything else. So why spend the time to put a garden in the ground at a place that you're renting versus making it where you can move it? And you want to see it? Let's go look at it. Okay, so first, the little label piece that we printed out. So we have the 2 screws in here, and we have the inside screws adjusted, so this thing can be rotated around the rim of the bucket. So if we move this bucket around, not a problem. We can just turn this label wherever we want. Now, the garden itself. So what we have, pretty self-explanatory here, is 8 buckets set on 4x4s with 2 cinder blocks. Now, as to the reason that those are on the 4x4s and the cinder blocks is if you just set the buckets on the ground, then eventually wherever you have the buckets, you'll need to shift the buckets around to keep the yard in good shape, and wherever you have those buckets will mess up the grass. So we have it elevated to limit how much grass we're actually squishing here. That, and we can get a weed eater underneath here to clean it out. The buckets are really nice. We have different plants in each bucket. So blackberry, catnip, that's a bell pepper, I think, of some type. Lettuce, strawberries. Anyway, this lets us separate the plants out for, say, different soils. If one of these needs a higher pH than the other one, we can easily adjust it and it won't affect the other one. If we are dealing with stuff like cold weather's coming and we want to save a couple of these plants, then we can take those plants inside and keep them warm, you know, that kind of deal. If you have a whole bunch of plants like this, and some of them need less sunlight or more sunlight, then we can easily move them to a different location in the yard and provide the necessary light that they may need. And of course, the big one is we're going to invest all this time to make these. So we're going to have several sections of these. We're going to invest all this time to make this garden, and down the road, if we have to move, not a problem. We just take the U-Haul or whatever, put all of our buckets in the back, move to the next house, and unload them and set it all up, assuming, of course, you have enough room. But if you do, then there's your garden already growing, and you're good to go. So this is our mobile, well, not apartment, rented house garden, I guess you'd call it.